Hi guys, what's going on? Today is Thursday, and the question is, what is the future of US immigration law? That's what we're going to cover today, and I'm going to give you my honest and genuine opinion on how I see what's going to be happening in the future with the laws concerning the immigrant, non-immigrant visas. I'm going to be addressing the US elections and my predictions on the visa bulletin and priority dates. Hello, Tejvinder. Welcome to the stream. Tejvinder, let me know what bothers you, what are the points of your interest, and what kind of visas you're looking at, so I could address that. So guys, let's first start with the recent approvals. I don't think we covered the approvals last Thursday. So let me tell you what happened for the past 2 weeks, and I'm going to tell you only a few of the approvals because there have been a lot. So the first one is EB1A for a back-end software developer from Russia. We did the 6 criteria: press, scientific articles, critical role, awards, judgment, and the associations. That was the case. We filed twice. The first time we got the officer from the blacklist, so we withdrew and refiled and got him approval. The second approval is EB1A for a talented doctor, psychiatrist. She's a psychiatrist. We got the 6 criteria, no problem, really good case, got approval from the first time. The third one is O1B for a talented blogger from Russia. She's an Instagram influencer, got approval with the first try. The fourth one is EB2NIW for Alex. He is an expert in cybersecurity. He created the DDoS protection program, which he's successfully using in his country, and he's bringing it to the US. All right, let's move on. The next approval is EB1A for the businessman in the property, within the property sphere. His name is Dmitry. He is from Dominican Republic. He had 5 criteria, and we had to refile the case twice because the first one was officer from the blacklist. And the last one, O1 for engineer, IT engineer, Dmitry. Also Dmitry, he got approval through his own company. We got him 6 criteria. All right, guys, so pretty good results. Quite a few approvals. We didn't get approvals this week specifically because there was a problem with the bank, and we got a lot of cases returned because of that. So we are overcoming this problem and bringing the solution this particular week. So guys, let's discuss what kind of future is going to be happening within the next, I would say, 6 months, because I believe the next 6 months are critical. Why? For 2 reasons. First, the US election in itself, which party is going to be winning? Is it Republicans? Is it Democrats? And the second one, the first 100 days of the new president are the most important. Traditionally, everybody is looking at the 100 first days after the president becomes the president. If you guys heard of it, it's good. Some of you never heard of this. Okay, who cares? 100 days, but this is a thing. This is a thing in the US. So if any type of changes are going to be happen, that's going to be happened within the first 3 months, 3.5 months, let's put it this way. So the president becomes the president in the beginning of January. I believe it's 6th or 7th or 9th, whatever, around those numbers. So February, March, April are the months when things are going to happen, if at all. Okay, and let me guys explain to you a little bit more on this. Any type of changes within first 100 months of a new president, in 99% will happen through the executive orders. Okay? So if you guys not familiar with what is an executive order of the US president, that's something that in power of the US president to make certain changes or bring the new policies or make things work through his or her orders. How is it different from the law that becomes the law through the Congress? Well, for the law to become law through the Congress, it first needs to go through subcommittees, the revision process, the public review, then the House of Representatives needs to vote with 50% or more, then the Senate needs to vote on this with 50% or more, and then that bill goes on the desk of the US president to be signed or vetoed. Okay? Veto means he doesn't sign, he says no, I don't sign this into law, and there's a process to overcome the veto. If the Senate votes, I believe two-thirds of the Senate, if two-thirds of the Senate votes on the same bill, they overcome the veto. That's the checks and balances in the US democratic system. So we don't expect anything to happen through the Congress, because as you see, it's a lengthy process that may take months, if not years. Okay? So the only way for any change in policies is through the executive orders, and some of them are illegal. They get to the Supreme Court, and if Supreme Court says it's a good executive order or it's not, it becomes an order or it is being dismissed. Okay? So there's a lot, guys. There's a lot going on, and trust me, it's not as easy as some of you may think. So now let's talk about the election and what kind of platforms both Democrats and Republicans are coming in, what kind of policies they want to bring to the table once they become in power, once they come into power. So Kamala Harris, what's her policy? She has very soft policies as to the illegal immigration. Okay, so historically that's the Democrats' policy, to bring as much illegal immigrants to the US, so some of them become citizens in the future and become legal voters to vote initially for the Democrats. Okay, because Democrats are the ones who brought them in, right, and helped them to become legalized. So Democrats don't really have any take on the legal immigration. And we are talking about legal immigration. So, but because they're going to be bringing so many illegal immigrants, it 100% that's going to affect the legal immigration. How it's going to affect? The approval rate, the approval chances are going down. Okay, why? Because we already brought so many people. Okay, we don't need many more. Okay, so if Democrats become president, if Kamala becomes president, nothing crazy is going to happen, but gradually within the next 4 years, the approval chances for the legal immigrants like you guys, EB1A, EB2NIW, EB5, and other visas, EB1C is going slowly down, gradually going down. Okay? On the other side, Mr. Trump, President Trump, what's his policy? He's very tough on illegal immigrants, which Democrats are trying to make it look as if he's against all immigrants, which is not true, guys. Not true whatsoever. And there is more proof to this than my words. Okay, and I'll address that in a second. So Republicans, they want to be tough on illegal immigration, and they want to give green light to the legal immigration, meaning to bring more professionals and specialists and unique people and people with money to the US through the current immigration system, which is going to translate in gradually increasing the approval rates for EB1As, EB1Cs, EB1Bs, EB2NIWs, EB2s, EB3s, EB5s, and other visas. Okay, it's not so. You guys can see that nothing crazy is going to happen right after the election and right after the whoever becomes the president in January for the first 100 days. Something we're going to expect more radical than that. But again, not going to affect you guys who want to come legally. Okay, Stanislav, besides your opinion, which we all appreciate, of course, what are the some facts and empirical data you rely when you say that things are going to be better when Trump becomes the president? And this is a great question, guys. This is the question that I will respond for sure. So, all of you, each one of you, may go to the Department of State and find the statistics, how many cases by a year been filed. And I suggest you guys look at EB1As, okay, because that's the biggest one. That's the big thing. Okay, look at how many EB1As been filed 2016, 2017, 2018, 2020. Right? So that's when the Trump was president. And you can see how many of them were approved. Okay? So you have how many were filed, and you have how many were approved, and of course how many of them were denied. And if you do this simple calculation, and I suggest you take the whole term, 16, 17, 18, 19, right? You sum up all the cases that have been filed for EB1A, and all the cases that have been approved, and calculate the percentage of the approval, of success of the cases. And you guys don't have to do this. I've done this for you. That percentage is 65%. So meaning that the sample of 4 years, when Trump was the president, we had 65% of the cases approved out of the 100 filed. Okay? Now, if you guys take the same sample of the data for Biden, which is 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023 is not available yet, probably, or maybe, I didn't check, okay? But if you take the first 3 years of Biden being the president and do the same exercise, take all the cases that have been filed, take all the cases that have been approved, sum them up, and then look at the percentage of approval at the Biden presidency. And guys, guess what? Biden and Kamala are so for the immigrants, are so for you guys coming here and making a great life and everything, that the success rate dropped to 50%. So I submit to you, see what they do, not what they say. Okay? Because you can say whatever you want, but if you do something different, that's what you gotta look at, right? So now let's analyze 65% rate with Trump and 50% rate with the Trump. And by the way, guys, with my company, it's 90%. Okay, 90% plus. So you could see the difference between the average in the industry and working with my corporation. Now, let's analyze 65% and 50% with what's the difference in proportion with these two numbers. And the difference is not 15%, guys. 15% difference only if you take a sample of 100%. If you do the proportion between these two, you will see that the actual success rate dropped about 25%. Okay? And I hope you guys understand the math a little bit, right? So I'm doing the proportion between 65 and 50, not between 100 and those percent. So 25% drop between Trump and Biden. Guys, this is insane. It cannot be attributed just because the cases become weaker. You will never make me believe just that suddenly when Democrats came to power, 25% cases become weaker. There's no way. There's no way. There's only one reasonable explanation, that there are inner policies within the administration to make those things happen. And let me tell you how it's happening, because you're like, okay, Stanislav, if they didn't do any executive orders and they didn't pass any laws through the Congress, how can that success rate drop that much? And this is a good question, and I get the answer for you guys. So the way they do this, through the inner policies for the USCIS. So it's not that they change the law, they change the interpretation of the law. You got it? So instead of going to the Congress and bringing the new policies in through the law, they're like, we're gonna say to USCIS that, hey guys, bring up the new policies, changing the way you view the existing laws, provided the current circumstances. And that's what they do. Okay, that's how they affect the laws and the approval rates and things like that. So Democrats, they try to regulate more. Republicans try to deregulate. All right? And guys, I'm not a Republican. Okay? For you to understand, I'm voting for Trump this time. But last time I didn't vote for him. And the one before I did vote for Obama. All right? So I'm independent. But looking at what Democrats are offering and what they're doing, I disagree. Okay? I disagree. That's why I'm leaning Republican this time. And let me tell you guys, it's not the Republicans or Democrats per se who decide the outcome of the vote in the US. It's the 5% independent voters who decide the outcome. That's why both Democrats and Republicans, they are pushing those independent voters to vote for them in the swing states. Okay, like Pennsylvania, Michigan, Arizona, Nevada. Florida is not swing state anymore. Florida is Republican at this point. Okay, so and I'm one of those independent voters. All right, so they're swinging me to the Republican side. So yeah. That's what's going to happen. You guys need to pray that Republicans become the president. Why? Because they're going to make it easier for you to come to the States. All right. So that's number one point regarding the who is going to become the president and what and how they're going to change the first 100 days of their presidency. All right. So watch it closely. But let's take a step back, guys. Let's take a step back and think about this problem more philosophically, and then we're going to address the priority dates. Okay? So when you guys ask me the question, I see that you rely on the answer, whether you're going to be filing your case or not, who's going to become the president, what kind of policies. Guys, do not tell me that whatever you think is bad for immigration, you are not going to file your case just because of that for the next 4 or maybe 8 years. Guys, don't be ridiculous, okay? You know I love you. I love you. But it's almost unintelligent to think that way, okay? You're gonna file your case regardless. If you have a case, of course, if you have a case, you're gonna file it regardless who is the president. Because your dream cannot wait for 4 years. Your kids, the kids you have now or the kids you will have in the future, cannot wait for 4 or 8 years. Okay? Your work, your future projects are not gonna wait for 4 years. So don't be ridiculous. Don't base your opinion on who is going to be the president. Okay? It doesn't matter. For you, it doesn't matter, provided that you have a case. How do you know if you have the case for EB1A or EB2 in IW? How do you know that? You know that because you will or you had go through the free evaluation. Okay, free evaluation. Let me guys drop you the links for the free evaluation for two main visas. Okay, EB1A and O1 and EB2 and IW. Those are the most important visas, the ones that you wanna address initially from the beginning. Okay, from the beginning. So the first one is O1 EB1A. Let me drop it in the chat. So guys, that's the free evaluation, right? You fill out the form and within 2 days, I get back to you with the free analysis. And EB2 and IW, you guys may use one or both of them for me to look it up at what's going on and give you my opinion, which visa is good for you and whether you have the potential. And if you do have the potential, I will invite you to the complex immigration planning so I could create a written winning strategy for your case. All right. Okay, so let's look at the questions and then I will go back to the priority dates because the fresh visa bulletin was released just the other day. Vadim. Hi Stanislav. Hi Vadim. I want to send my son, he's Canadian, to be a watchmaker in Texas. This is a requirement below. Can you help in this case? Thanks. We can only accept United States citizens and permanent residents at this time. Students on FJ or M visa are not currently eligible. Okay, so Vadim, you have very specific questions, right? So you have a son who wants to be a watchmaker, which I've never seen. I've never had a case for a watch. I had a bunch of cases for jewelries, which I think pretty close with the watchmaker. If I understand it correctly, what is a watchmaker, right? So watch is something you put on your wrist to see the time, and maker is somebody who makes that watch, right? So I guess, let me know, Vadim, if I'm getting it right. So if they don't accept students on FJ or M visas, that's really weird, okay? I guess that means they don't have accreditation with SEVIS. The agency that accredits the universities and colleges to accept the foreign students. So you have only two ways to get that resolved. Number one, you need to find the school that accepts the international students. That's solution number one, and I would think it's the easiest solution, okay? And number two, you need to get him a green card. All right. So I know nothing about your son if he has any achievements in this industry, because if he has some achievements and recognitions in this industry, you know, I would look him up for EB1A. But if he's in the beginning of his career and has nothing to offer, then first he needs to build his career to get EB1A, okay? So unfortunately, in this case, Vadim, you have only two solutions, and one is harder than the other, okay? Both of them hard, but one is harder than the other. But yeah, looking for the school that accepts the foreign students is probably the better solution. Hello, Prince Patel. Thank you for coming to our stream. So guys, I addressed in the beginning of the stream a few important things. I analyzed what are the policies of Democrat parties relative to the immigration laws, what are the policies of the Republican Party, what kind of changes will happen in the future. That's what we already discussed. So if you missed that, rewatch the stream. And now it's time to address the visa bulletin, which was just released the other day. And what changed, guys? Pretty much nothing. Okay, pretty much no move with the current priority days with the for EB1As for Indians, the EB2 and EB3 for everybody else, including Indians. So it's the same. It's the same. Okay, and that was my expectation. That was my forecast, and I think we are not going to see any significant change for the next 3 to 6 months. Okay, so if you guys have approval for EB2 or EB3, and especially if you're from India and you're on H1B visa, the only way for you guys to resolve this situation is to get the EB1A approved and request the substitution of the priority dates as if your EB1A was approved when your EB2 was approved, and get your green card like this. Okay? Okay, at least if you work with me. Okay, I know how to do this. I know how to substitute the priority dates. So that's concerning the Indians. Everybody else, guys, EB1A is the only visa besides EB5, because if you guys have $1 million, you're welcome to get your approval pretty fast through EB5 program. Okay, and I suggest the passive investment through EB5. Okay, that's the easiest, the quickest, the most efficient way right now for those of you who have a budget of $1 million. Okay, if you don't have that much money, EB1A is still the best of the best. It's current. Yes, for Indians it's a little bit behind, but it's the closest to the current. And by the way, that thing that happened a couple of weeks ago when Department of State said, hey, we're not giving EB1As anymore, that's off, because the fiscal year began. For the purpose of the visa bulletin, it began, but actually it will begin October 1st of 2025. Okay, so EB1A, so far, my main specialty is the best visa. We don't have to rely on no one. So guys, make sure you go through the free evaluation process. The link I dropped in the chat. Okay. All right, let's see. You guys dropped a few questions. Lucas, my wife was approved on a faculty interview for an American university. Congratulations. She has a master's degree, postgrad, and 2 degrees in nursing. What would be her quickest and best route of immigration? Okay, so let me specify, Lucas. So I'm not going to address the issue how she's going to work for that university, right? Because obviously F1, J1, M1 are the ways to do this. Maybe not F1, J or M. Also H1B and O1. Right, so those would be the best solutions to work for her at the university. But we're going to be addressing the immigrant visas, which will give you and your wife the green cards. So here she will have, and I don't know specifics, right? So you gave me some information, but I need more. But again, I don't want to exhaust you. So most importantly, EB2. EB2 NIW, and EB1A. Okay? Most likely EB2 NIW, especially if she's teaching in STEM, okay? Because I don't know what kind of degrees she has, masters and postgrad, right? So let's assume she has a STEM degree and she's going to be teaching the STEM. That's a great case for EB2 NIW. Okay? Really good case. EB1A on the second place, because what I hear is probably is a good EB1A case as well, if we can work on the press for her, and we can work on the press for her. And the third place is classic EB2 through the labor certification. Okay, EB1A will take her about 1.5 years to get the green card. EB2 NIW about 2.5 years. EB2 Classic 2.5 to 3 years. Okay, so she has a bunch of options. Make sure, Lucas, that your wife fills out both EB1A and EB2NW free evaluation forms. Okay, I'll take a look and I'll let her know in detail. Vadim, you're welcome. KPGP Florida says thumbs up, Stanislav, go Trump. Right? I guess that's what he's saying. Guys, I'm going to be voting Trump this time. You will not persuade me otherwise. Okay? And that's going to be better for you. All of you. Prince Patel, if suppose I'm Canadian citizen, how many way to settle in the US in a legal way? I'm 20 years old. Prince Patel, well, first of all, let me guess, and I'm doing it absolutely objectively. You are probably Indian born. Right? You're probably Indian born. Maybe you're from Pakistan, right? If Pakistan is a little different, but you're Indian born. So if you're Indian born, that for the purpose of priority dates, you need to be looking at as if you have Indian citizenship. Okay? Because Visa Bulletin, they look not at your current citizenship, but at the country of your birth. All right? So that one is giving you only two, let's give you three options. EB1A, the talent visa, EB5 if you have at least $800,000, and the marrying the US citizen, which I don't do. I don't do family law. I'll do only talents, national interest, and business investment. Okay, narrow specialization. So that's it. Prince Patel, that's all I can advise you without knowing more. And if you're not Indian born, if you're Canadian born or whatever, it's just your parents who immigrated to Canada, then I would also contemplate EB2 and EB3 if you have an employer in the US. Okay. Lucas, how long can take the perm route? Lucas, I already answered that. So EB2, the classic EB2, which is through perm, in other words, labor certification, okay? Labor certification is perm, it's the same thing. So that would take 2.5, 3 years, which I think is ridiculous, but EB2 and AW will make it quicker, okay? We'll make it quicker. If she's in the STEM. If she's in the STEM and she's teaching in that field. Peace. Yes, and Prince Patel says he's holding Indian citizenship. So yes, I guess that's right. All right. KPJ Florida, do you think USA will do digital nomad working for Brits in the UK? I don't think so. KPGP, I don't think so. At least at this point, I don't see that happening. Because there's no benefits. There's no benefit to the US, right? If you just want to come to US and work for the Britain, I mean, what's the benefit for the US? I don't see. Yes, you will pay taxes, maybe some of the taxes, but that's not much. Okay, so I don't see that happening. And let's actually talking about the forecast, not maybe the next year, but definitely years ahead. I will not be surprised, guys, if whoever, and it's not, it's bipartisan. It's bipartisan. It doesn't matter who is the president. The PhDs are gonna have the way to become a green card holders just by way of getting their PhD. Okay? Why am I saying that? Because there was a bill, there was a talk at least, to give the PhDs who got their PhDs in the US the automatic green card. And guys, guess who was talking about it? Trump was talking about it. Not Biden, not Obama. Trump was, at least as far as I know, because you know. Maybe they discussed it, but I know for sure that Trump discussed this opportunity. Okay, so I think that's how they're gonna start, and they're gonna give the PhDs who got it in the US university the green card, but then they're gonna expand it to any PhD. Okay, to any PhD. So, you know, PhDs right now are getting the green cards through the EB2 and AW, and EB1A is like this. Okay, if you guys have a PhD, I'll get you the green card. Okay, 99%. I'll give you 99% approval of your case, regardless of anything else you have. Okay, not because PhD like in itself is a green card. No, there's a case around it, but that's a good start. Okay, what else? What else, guys? Actually, I heard it from you guys. You told me about this on one of my webinars, and then someone during the stream was like, "Hey, Stanislav, look at this program," and that was like, what's the name? Guys, drop me the name of that program. Like something like this, homeland something. And I looked it up. I never heard of it, and I looked it up, and it actually is a thing. It's actually a thing. Okay, so it's kind of so what's the discussion about the program? They want to attract the professionals like doctors, engineers, IT, architects, cybersecurity, construction employees to the areas where there's like a problem with those kind of professionals. So it sounds like that's the program in Canada. And you guys, Prince Patel, tell me, maybe you're in Canada on this program, or people, Vadim, maybe you know better, where if you're professional, you can go to those areas, but you have to stay there. Okay, so I don't want to call the names, guys, but to me, it's a little bit like involuntary servitude, which is a polite way to say it's a slavery, okay? And I think slavery was abolished when? 1864, around those times, right? So I'm not sure about that. So, but there's a talk about this, and I understand where they're coming from, but you know, there are a few issues with that program. We'll keep discussing. And guys, I'm pretty sure within the next 5 years, we're gonna have more immigration programs for the businessmen and investors. Okay? Because as of right now, it's very limited to bring, it's like almost we, the Americans, we ban ourselves from investors and businessmen. It's almost like these guys, okay? And of course, you guys know the solution if you don't qualify for E2, L1, EB5. You guys know which program you will qualify if you work with me. And that's O1, okay? O1. We'll bring you on O1, and then we'll see what's gonna happen. All right, so let's take a look. And guys, free evaluation. You have the links in the chat. Free evaluation is your first step to come to the US. How about, PS Invest? Do you recommend building profile for EB1A for an Indian professional with over 15 years of experience and project manager? Any tips? PC Invest. Absolutely. Absolutely. Guys, let me tell you. Right now, as we speak, I have probably 40 clients currently working with my teams and myself, building the EB1 cases, okay, improving on the EB1 cases. And let me tell you guys, if you are Indian born, regardless of your citizenship, you have no other option, okay? You guys have. And again, outside of EB5, if you have $1 million, come on in. We'll get you green card within a year, maybe faster, okay? But how many of you guys have $1 million? Hello, anyone? $1 million? Prince Patel, Emil, Vadim, anyone? I don't think so. I mean, not that you might have it, but can you spend it on a program? Is it liquid? It's definitely in your assets, in your property, in stocks, in gold, in Bitcoin. And guys, you know the drill. You never sell your Bitcoin, right? You never sell it. You only buy it, accumulate it. So it's not available, right? So if you're Indian born, you have only one option outside of marrying the American citizen, a boy and a girl. You guys know we're tolerant people here. Or investing $1 million. So if you married, and you guys in India love to have a lot of kids, and you never divorce, right? I don't even know if divorce is legal in India, because it seems that it's not. And you don't have $1 million, EB1A is the only option available to you. That's it. And you'll be like, oh, Stanislav, but EB2, also EB3, and maybe I'm a religious worker, EB4. Is there? Yes, they're available to you, EB2, EB3, EB4. But you're gonna wait for 15 years, maybe, probably more. Okay, so the only realistic way, yes, you're gonna wait 2-3 years, unless you have EB2 approved before it, right? And what's the case? You are on H1B in the US, and your employer filed EB2 for you, and you have it approved, let's say, anytime before 2022, okay? Once we file for your EB1A, and we'll get you approved, okay? With a very high chance. We substitute the priority dates, and that's how you get the green card. If you do not have EB2 approved, or EB3 for that matter, then still EB1A, and just wait for a little bit longer. That's all, guys. That's all. There's nothing else. All right. KPGP Florida EB2. Wow, just learned that this one is so can a director information technology apply for this visa in the US? Absolutely, absolutely. Why not? If you have an employer. Prince Patel, Lucas, thumbs up. Okay, PC Invest. How do you recommend build a profile for an Indian national with 15 years? Okay, so I answered that one. So how do I recommend? Well, PC Invest. First, get the free evaluation, because I don't know what you got. Okay, I don't know what you got. Get that one at least. If I see you have a good foundation for EB1A, then come to the complex immigration planning, so I could go deep into your achievement and recognition and build you the written strategy, the roadmap for you to how you can improve on your case, or maybe you already have a case. I don't know. Where do we start? Exactly, you start with free evaluation. Yeah, KPGP says, yeah, $1 million. Exactly, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Yeah, but EB1A is much easier in that respect. O1 seems unobtainable for normal person. I don't know what you mean by normal person, KPGP. Like, I don't think I am a normal person. Okay, so I would say O1 for professional or someone with the skill, that's an easy one. Guys, my approval rate for O1s, and trust me, I filed definitely above 100 of O1s, is 99%. Okay? 99% chance of approval for O1, I think is pretty high. I think it's pretty high. So if you can move your hands and your legs, I think you can get O1. Okay? Again, I'm talking about myself. I don't know about anybody else. So yes, it's possible. And KPJ said, okay, no US employer want to employ British in technology these days. KPGP, you can register your own LLC in any state in the US. And that LLC will be your employer for the purpose of O1. And when you come to the US, you will be using your LLC to pick up any amount, any number of projects, or work as 1099 employee for another company because you have the work permit. You got it? Okay. Yeah, so keep a GP, fill out the form, the O1 EB1A. Then I'll be able to see what you got and build up your strategy to come to the US and build up further. All right, guys. You guys on fire today. Oh my God. Usually you guys like, like, oh, almost dying. I don't know. But today, like, you gave me really good questions. And let me tell you guys, the questions that you gave me today, they like well thought through, most of them. Which means you guys have analytical reasoning, you have analytical mind, and that's a big plus for any type of visa that we're discussing today. Okay, so guys, good job. It was a really good time. Fill out the forms, come to the complex immigration planning, then also have a really good end of the week. I'm Stanislav Shamayev, a lawyer of the future. Your future begins here. Good luck.